The heavy chords faded into silence, leaving only the sound of the wind whistling over the ridge. Milo's hand hovered over the device, ready to stop it if Arya showed even the slightest sign of pain. But instead, she lowered her hand slowly. Her eyes still wide with wonder, her chest rose and fell quickly as though she had been running. I thought it would break me, she whispered. But it didn't. It was powerful. Milo let out the breath he had been holding. You're not hurt? She shook her head quickly. No, I feel alive. Milo gave a small, nervous laugh. That was only the beginning. Hard rock can be much louder, much stronger than that. I didn't want to scare you. Arya tilted her head, silver hair falling across her shoulder. If this is the beginning, what comes after? Her curiosity shone so brightly that Milo felt a smile tugging at his lips. He hadn't expected this. Most Liven avoided even the faintest hum of human songs. Yet here she stood, asking for more. He sat down on a flat rock and motioned for her to join him. Music comes in many forms. Some gentle, like what you heard earlier. Some wild, like what I just played. Each one makes you feel something different. Arya lowered herself onto the rock across from him, her cloak folding neatly around her. Her diamond-shaped pupils glowed faintly as she studied the device in his hands. Why do humans make these sounds? Milo thought for a moment. Because we need to. Music is how we share our feelings. When words aren't enough, music can say the rest. It can tell a story, or help us remember, or give us strength. Arya's lips parted slightly as if tasting the idea. Strength, she repeated softly. We Liven do not sing. We are told it would harm us. Our ears are too sharp. Our elders say our minds cannot handle such force. Milo tilted his head. But you just listen to it and you're fine. She looked down, her expression clouded. If they knew what I just did, I would be punished. Her words sent a small chill through Milo. He glanced around the empty ridge, wondering how dangerous it might be if her people found out. Then maybe we should be careful, he said quietly. No one else has to know. Her eyes lifted back, to his, bright with determination. I do not want to stop. I want to hear more. Milo couldn't help but grin. You're braver than you look, Arya. She blinked at him, tilting her head again. Braver? I feel afraid. That's what makes you brave, Milo said gently. You're afraid, but you're still choosing to face it. For the first time since they met, Arya smiled. It was small and hesitant, but it softened her face, making her seem less like a mysterious alien and more like a curious friend. Play another, she whispered. Milo scrolled through his playlists, considering. If he chose something too harsh, it might scare her away. But if he kept playing only the softest songs, she might never feel the real heart of human music. Finally, he chose a track that had both strong drums and a soaring melody, not as intense as the last one, but enough to stir emotion. When the first notes played, Arya's eyes widened again. She leaned forward, listening closely. Her fingers curled slightly, as though her body was trying to follow the rhythm without her even realizing. Her head tilted with the rise and fall of the music, and then, very softly, she hummed. Milo froze, staring. Her hum wasn't perfect, but it carried a strange, clear quality, like crystal touched by wind. You're humming, he said softly. Arya's eyes widened, and she quickly covered her mouth as though she had done something forbidden. It's all right, Milo assured her with a gentle smile. It sounded beautiful. Her hands lowered slowly, her cheeks faintly shimmering with silver as if she were blushing. I didn't mean to. The sound just pulled me. That's what music does, Milo said. It moves you. For a while, they sat in silence, letting the music fill the air. Arya's eyes shone brighter with every note. her body relaxing as though the song washed away her fears. When it ended, she let out a soft sigh. "It feels like my heart is not my own anymore," she whispered, "as if the sound carries it away." Milo nodded. "That's music, too. Sometimes it carries us. Sometimes it lifts us up when we're tired. Sometimes it helps us feel less alone." Arya's expression softened. "Do humans listen when they are alone?" "Almost always," Milo said. "At least I do." She studied him for a long moment, then asked in a low voice, "Will you let me hear the strongest one you have?" Milo blinked. "Are you sure? The strongest ones, they're not gentle at all." She lifted her chin slightly. "I want to know what your people hear when they need the most strength." Milo hesitated. He wanted to protect her, but he also saw the determination in her eyes. She wasn't just curious. She was hungry for something her world had denied her. "All right," he said at last. "But if it's too much, you tell me and I'll stop right away." "I promise," she said firmly. Milo scrolled back to his hard rock playlist. His finger hovered over a track filled with heavy drums and roaring guitars. He glanced at Arya once more, searching her face for doubt. But she nodded. He pressed play. The sound burst out, fierce and unrelenting. Arya flinched, but didn't pull away. Her hands twitched at her sides, her eyes wide, pupils narrowing and then expanding with each crashing beat. Milo leaned forward nervously. "Are you all right?" Her lips parted. Her voice came out in a trembling whisper. "It is like fire. It burns, but it does not hurt." Milo watched in awe as she closed her eyes, her body swaying slightly to the rhythm. Her cloak shifted, and for the first time he noticed faint markings along her arms, patterns glowing faintly in rhythm with the music, as though her very skin responded to the sound. He almost dropped the device in shock. When the song ended, Arya opened her eyes slowly. They glowed brighter than before, a rich teal light pulsing like embers. She drew in a deep breath. "More," she whispered. Milo's mouth fell open. "You want more?" Her smile was faint, but it carried a spark of something wild. "Yes, the stronger the better." Milo couldn't help but laugh softly. "Arya, you might end up liking this more than I do." She tilted her head with a playful gleam in her eyes. "Then you must show me everything, human." Milo felt a strange warmth in his chest. He had never shared music like this before, not with anyone, certainly not with a livin'. But in that moment, he knew their secret meetings were only beginning. And for the first time in years, Milo looked forward to tomorrow. The sun of Argon 4 was slipping lower, casting long shadows across the ridge. Milo and Arya still sat side by side on the flat rock, the music player resting between them. The world felt strangely quiet after the fierce storm of sound that had just ended. Arya's silver hair clung to her cheeks, moved by the cool wind. Her eyes still glowed faintly teal, like embers refusing to die. "I did not know sound could be like that," she whispered, her voice trembling. Milo smiled gently. "It was a lot for your first time. You handled it better than most humans would." She gave a small, quick laugh, though it sounded more like surprise than humor. "I thought my ears would shatter, but instead I felt thunder inside me, like I was stronger than I have ever been." Milo leaned back on his elbows, studying her. "That's what I felt the first time I heard hard rock too. Like I could do anything." Arya looked at him, her pupils narrowing slightly. "Do all humans feel that way when they hear it?" "Not all," Milo admitted. "Some think it's too loud, some prefer calm music. But for me—" He paused, searching for words. "For me, it's like having fire in my chest. It keeps me going when I feel tired or lost." Arya lowered her gaze, brushing her fingers lightly against the edge of the music player. The elders say our hearts must stay calm. They say too much feeling will break us. Milo studied her carefully. Do you believe them? She was silent for a long moment. Then softly, not anymore. The wind shifted, carrying the distant sound of the colony's machines. Arya pulled her cloak tighter around her shoulders. Her eyes darted toward the horizon, as if worried someone might see her. They cannot know, she whispered. If the elders discover I have listened to this, they will take me away. Milo frowned. Take you away? Where? To the quiet chambers, she said, her voice barely audible. A place where no sound exists. They would keep me there until my mind forgets. Milo's chest tightened. That sounds terrible. It is meant to protect us, Arya said softly. But then her hand curled into a fist. But I do not want protection anymore. I want freedom. The strength in her words surprised Milo. He realized then that Arya wasn't just curious. She was desperate for something her world had always denied her. He sat up straighter. Then we'll be careful. We'll keep this between us. She looked at him, searching his face. After a moment, she nodded slowly. Yes, between us. Milo smiled faintly. Do you want to hear another song? Arya hesitated. Her eyes flicked toward the music player, then back to him. Yes, but only if you sing with it. Milo blinked. Me? Sing? She tilted, her head serious. When you hummed before, I felt closer to the sound. I want to feel that again. Milo chuckled nervously. I'm not exactly a great singer. Her lips curved into the faintest smile. Then we will be imperfect together. He laughed softly at that. All right, let's try. He scrolled through his collection and chose a song with a strong but steady rhythm, something that would be easier to follow. As the music began, he sang quietly, his voice uncertain at first. Arya listened closely, her expression soft. Then slowly, very slowly, she joined in. Her voice was unlike anything Milo had ever heard. It was clear and shimmering, carrying a strange, natural harmony that blended with the instruments as if it had always belonged there. Even when her notes wavered, they carried a beauty that sent chills down his spine. When the song ended, Milo stared at her in awe. Arya, you were incredible. Her cheeks shimmered faintly again, as though she were blushing. I was only following you. No, Milo said firmly. You made the song better. Arya looked down, but a small, proud smile tugged at her lips. Before they could speak again, a faint sound reached them, the crunch of footsteps on gravel. Arya froze, her eyes wide. Someone is coming. Milo quickly stuffed the music player back into his pack. He glanced around, spotting a shadow moving along the ridge. His heart raced. If it was a live-in patrol, they could both be in trouble. Arya pulled her hood up, hiding her glowing eyes. She leaned close and whispered, Say nothing of me. Milo nodded quickly. The figure grew closer until at last it came into view. To his relief, it wasn't a live-in elder. It was another human, a miner from the colony named Darren. Darren raised a hand in greeting. Milo, thought I'd find you out here. The tower's signal's been dropping again. Milo forced a casual smile. Yeah, I just finished the repairs. Darren glanced around. You talking to someone? Heard voices? Milo's heart pounded. He shook his head. Just me. I talk to myself when I work. Keeps me focused. Darren chuckled. Guess that makes sense. Well, good work. See you back. At the colony. As Darren walked away, Arya let out a shaky breath of relief. Her hands trembled as she pulled her hood tighter. That was close. Milo nodded. Too close. She looked at him with a mixture of fear and determination. We must be careful, but I cannot stop now. The sound, it calls to me. Milo smiled faintly. Then we'll find a way. We'll keep it secret. Her diamond pupils glowed softly in the fading light. Promise me. I promise, Milo said firmly. For a moment they sat in silence, the weight of the near discovery pressing down on them. But then Arya whispered, almost to herself, "Next time." Louder. Milo laughed softly despite the tension. "You're going to be the death of me, Arya." She tilted her head with a playful glint in her eyes. "Or the life of you." And, as the sun dipped fully below the horizon, Milo knew one thing for certain. This was only the beginning. The next few days passed quickly, though for Milo each one felt different than the last. He went about his usual work in the colony, repairing mining drills, checking power lines, and tightening loose bolts on the communications tower, but his thoughts always drifted back to Arya. Every evening, just as the sky began to fade into silver dusk, he returned to the same rocky ridge. And every evening, Arya was there, waiting. The first time he wondered if she would return, his chest had been tight with doubt. But when he saw her silver hair shining faintly in the dim light, he felt relief rush through him. Their meetings quickly became secret rituals. Milo brought his old music player, and Arya listened eagerly, her glowing eyes reflecting every note. At first, he chose songs with steady rhythms and smooth voices, but as days passed, Arya pushed for more. "Play, the storm again," she whispered one evening, pulling her cloak tighter against the cool wind. Milo chuckled softly. "You mean the hard rock track?" "Yes, the one that felt like thunder." Milo hesitated. "You're sure?" Her diamond pupils glimmered. "Yes." He scrolled through the playlist and pressed play. The fierce chords burst forth, sharp and heavy. Arya gasped at the first impact, but this time she didn't flinch. Instead, her head moved slightly with the rhythm, her silver hair catching the light with every motion. Milo watched her in amazement. She wasn't just listening anymore. She was feeling it. When the song ended, Arya let out a long breath, her lips curving into a smile. "It doesn't frighten me now," Milo grinned. "You're getting stronger." Her eyes sparkled. "It feels like breaking a barrier, as if I am stepping into a place I was never allowed before." Encouraged, Milo explained more about music, about instruments, lyrics, and the way humans used songs to share their deepest feelings. Arya listened intently, asking question after question. "Why do humans make words inside the sound?" she asked one evening. "Those are lyrics," Milo explained. "They tell a story or carry a message. The music gives the words power." She tilted her head. "Can you show me?" Milo smiled faintly. "All right, but you'll have to promise not to laugh at my singing." "I would never," Arya said earnestly. He chose a simple rock ballad, one with clear lyrics and a strong melody. As the music began, Milo sang softly, his voice steady despite his nervousness. Arya listened, her pupils widening as the words carried through the air. When he finished, she whispered, "Your voice. It makes the sound brighter. The words feel alive." Milo scratched the back of his neck, embarrassed. "I've always liked singing along. It makes me feel like I'm part of the music." Her lips curved into a small smile. "Then I want to try too," he blinked. "You? Sing?" "Yes," she said firmly. "Will you teach me?" Milo hesitated. "I can try, but it might be hard. You've never sung before." Her expression grew determined. "I am not afraid." So under the fading light, Milo taught her how to follow the melody. At first her notes wavered, uncertain, but slowly, with patience, her voice grew steadier, and when she finally matched the rhythm, her song shimmered like glass touched by sunlight. Milo stared at her in awe. "Arya, that was incredible." She looked down shyly, but he caught the faint smile that crossed her lips. It felt right, like I have always wanted to do this. But their joy was short-lived. One evening, as they sat together practicing, Arya suddenly stiffened. Her ears twitched, and her eyes darted toward the distance. "What is it?" Milo asked quietly. "Voices," she whispered. Her tone carried fear. Milo held his breath, straining to listen. Sure enough, faint echoes drifted on the wind, liven voices. A patrol. Arya's hands trembled as she pulled up her hood. "They must not see me here." "If they hear the music, don't worry," Milo said quickly. He switched off the device and shoved it into his pack. "We'll hide." They crouched low behind the rocks as three tall figures came into view, their cloaks flowing like water in the dim light. The Livin' Patrol moved silently, their diamond pupils scanning the ridge. Milo felt his heart race. If they found Arya, what would happen? The patrol paused not far from them. One of the Liven turned, his eyes narrowing as if sensing something. Arya's hand gripped Milo's sleeve tightly. After a tense moment, the patrol moved on, their footsteps. Fading into the distance, Arya let out a shaky breath, her shoulders trembling. That was too close. Milo placed a hand on her arm gently. "You're safe now." Her eyes lifted to his, filled with both fear and determination. "If they ever catch me, they will silence me forever." "Then we won't let that happen," Milo said firmly. "We'll be more careful. We'll meet farther away, where no one will find us." Arya nodded slowly, though her hands were still trembling. "I cannot stop now. The music, it has become part of me." Milo smiled softly. "Then we'll make sure you keep it." That night, as the stars began to shine above the dusty sky of Argon 4, Arya whispered something she had never dared to say before. "Milo, will you keep teaching me to sing?" He looked at her, surprised by the hope in her glowing eyes. "Of course. As long as you want." Her lips curved into a small, brave smile. "Then I will not be afraid anymore." And as they sang softly, together under the starlight, Milo realized Arya had already broken the first barrier of fear, but neither of them knew. The next barrier would be far more dangerous. The days turned into a quiet rhythm of work for Milo and secret lessons for Arya. Every evening they met on the hidden ridge, far from the eyes of her people. With each song, Arya grew bolder. Her voice, once uncertain, now carried a strength Milo could not ignore. One evening, Milo brought something different. From scraps in the colony's workshop, he had built a small device, a rough microphone connected to a speaker. It wasn't perfect, but it could amplify her voice. When he showed it to Arya, her eyes widened. "What is this?" Milo grinned. "A way to make your voice louder, so you can sing like the human performers I've seen in old recordings." Her fingers brushed the device with reverence. "Louder. I want to try." Milo set it up carefully, connecting it to his music player. When the first guitar chords filled the air, Arya lifted the microphone. She hesitated only a moment before she began to sing. Her voice poured out strong and clear, blending with the heavy rhythm. The sound carried far into the open air, echoing against the rocky cliffs. Milo felt his chest tighten with pride. She wasn't just following the music anymore, she was leading it. When the song ended, Milo clapped. "Arya, that was amazing!" Her cheeks shimmered faintly as she smiled. I felt free. But before Milo could say more, a sharp sound cut through the air, a low hum that didn't belong to the music. Arya's expression changed instantly. She froze, the microphone slipping from her hand. "They heard," she whispered in terror. Milo turned just in time to see three tall figures approaching swiftly across the ridge. Their cloaks rippled like dark waves, and the glow of their eyes fixed on Arya. "Run!" Milo urged, grabbing his pack. But Arya shook her head. They are elders, she said softly. If I run, they will follow. I cannot escape them. The elders stopped a few steps away. Their expressions were stern, their voices low but sharp. Arya of the Livin', one of them said, his diamond pupils narrowing. You have broken the first quiet. Arya's voice trembled. I only— Silence, the elder commanded. You have let human noise corrupt you. You will come with us. Milo stepped forward before he could stop himself. Wait, she's not hurt. She's fine. The music isn't dangerous. The elder's gaze turned to him, cold and heavy. Human, this does not concern you. It does, Milo said firmly. She chose this. She wanted to hear. Arya's hand clutched his sleeve, her eyes filled with fear. Milo, she whispered. The elders stepped closer. Her choice was guided by your corruption. You will leave. She will be taken to the quiet chambers. No! Arya's voice rang out, louder than Milo had ever heard. The elders froze for a moment, clearly shocked by her defiance. Her eyes glowed brightly, and her silver hair shimmered in the fading light. I will not go, she said firmly. I am not broken. The sound did not harm me. It gave me strength. The elders exchanged uneasy glances. One of them stepped forward, voice sharp. You endanger our kind with this rebellion. The quiet chambers will restore you. Milo clenched his fists. You can't just take her away because she's different. The elder ignored him and raised a hand. A faint vibration filled the air, a livened signal Milo could not hear but felt in his bones. Arya winced, clutching her head. Without thinking, Milo pulled the music player from his pack and hit play. The heavy chords of hard rock burst forth, filling the ridge with fierce sound. Arya gasped, her eyes widening as the rhythm cut through. The painful vibration. Her trembling slowed, and she lifted her head. The elders stepped back, startled. What is this? One demanded. It's her voice, Milo said, turning to Arya. Sing, Arya. Show them you're not broken. For a heartbeat, she hesitated. Then, with determination blazing in her eyes, she lifted the microphone and began to sing. Her voice soared over the music, stronger than ever. The sound crashed against the ridge, filling the air with raw power. Milo watched as the elders faltered, their expressions shifting from anger to shock. The song ended in a final echoing note that lingered in the air. Arya lowered the microphone, her chest rising and falling with each breath. The elders stood silent. Finally, the one in front spoke, his voice softer now. You are unharmed? Arya met his gaze firmly. I am not harmed. I am alive. For a long moment, no one moved. Then the elders stepped back, their expressions unreadable. This defiance cannot be ignored, the first elder said at last. But neither can it be denied. They turned and walked away, their cloaks whispering against the stones. Arya collapsed to her knees, trembling. Milo rushed to her side, placing a hand on her shoulder. You did it, he whispered. You showed them. Her eyes shimmered with tears, but her smile was bright. I was so afraid, but the music carried me. Milo squeezed her hand gently. You were amazing. She looked at him, her glowing eyes filled with gratitude. Thank you, Milo, for giving me my voice. As the last light of day faded, they both knew the future would not be easy. The elders had seen. The secret was no longer safe. But Arya was no longer afraid. And Milo realized that from this moment on, their world would never be the same. The night was calm and dark when Milo and Arya met again on the rocky ridge. The stars above twinkled softly, but the air between them was heavy with tension. They both knew the elders had seen Arya's secret, but no one had come to stop them, yet. That meant the elders were thinking, planning their next move. Arya sat quietly, her silver hair glowing faintly under the starlight. Her eyes held a fire that had not been there before, a fire born from the music and from the courage it gave her. "I fear what will happen," Milo said softly, breaking the silence. "The elders may try to silence you forever." Arya looked at him and smiled, a small but steady smile. "Then I will not be silent." Milo nodded. "We need a plan. Something that shows them you are not a danger. Something that can change their minds." Arya's eyes sparkled. "I have an idea." Milo raised an eyebrow. "What is it?" She took a deep breath and stood up. "I will sing, but not just any song. I will sing a song of our people and of humans, a song that tells a story." Milo's heart pounded. A song like that? It could reach their hearts? She nodded. Music is more than sound. It is feeling and truth. If they hear it, maybe they will understand. The next day, word had already spread quietly through the colony. The elders would come to the ridge again, expecting Arya to give up or be taken away. But Arya had other plans. When the elders arrived, Arya stood tall, her silver hair flowing in the wind. She held the small microphone Milo had made. The music player was ready, connected to the speaker that would carry her voice far. The first notes began softly, a mix of human instruments and ancient livened sounds. Milo watched as Arya closed her eyes and began to sing. Her voice was strong, clear and full of emotion. She sang of the mountains where the living lived, of the stars that watched over them, and of the humans who had reached out with friendship. The song spoke of hope, courage, and the power to change. The elders listened, their faces unreadable at first. But as the song went on, something changed. Their eyes softened. The heavy lines on their faces seemed to ease. The powerful notes of Arya's song wrapped around their hearts like a warm light. When the final note faded into silence, the ridge was still. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then the eldest of the group stepped forward. "Arya, your voice carries a truth we have never heard. You have shown us strength and hope." He looked at the other elders, who nodded slowly. The elder turned back to Arya. "You have broken the silence not with destruction, but with beauty. You have reminded us why we must not fear the unknown." Arya smiled, tears glistening in her eyes. "Music connects us all. It is a gift, not a curse." Milo stepped forward and spoke quietly. "We can build a future where humans and Liven share their stories and songs. Together." The elders remained silent, but their expressions showed they were considering this new path. Finally, the eldest spoke again. "We will not stop you, Arya, but you must promise to guide our people carefully." Arya bowed her head. "I promise." As the elders turned and walked away, Milo felt a wave of relief wash over him. Arya looked at Milo and said softly, "Thank you for believing in me." He smiled. "You found your voice. I just helped you listen." Under the stars, their secret meetings changed from hidden lessons to shared dreams. The song that once might have brought punishment now opened a door to hope, and for the first time the future felt full of light. The morning sun stretched over the horizon of Argon 4, bathing the rocky ridge in soft golden light. For Milo and Arya, the new day felt different, lighter, hopeful, full of promise. The elders' acceptance, though cautious, had opened a door they never thought possible. Word had spread through the colony and the Liven settlement. The music, once forbidden, now sparked curiosity and wonder instead of fear. Slowly, others began to listen, not just to Arya's songs, but to the music of humans. Arya stood on the ridge, the small music player by her side. Her silver hair glowed faintly, and her teal eyes reflected the sky's bright blue. Around her, a small group of living and humans gathered, their faces eager and open. Milo stood nearby, smiling proudly. "Look at them," he whispered. "They want to learn." Arya nodded. "They are ready. We have changed their hearts." She took a deep breath and began to sing, her voice clear and strong. The song told the story of two worlds meeting, a story of friendship, courage, and hope. The humans and Laven listened, some swaying gently to the rhythm, others with tears in their eyes. When she finished, the crowd burst into applause, a sound new to the Laven but full of warmth. The elders, standing quietly at the back, smiled softly. One elder stepped forward. "Arya," he said, "you have not only found your voice but helped our people find theirs." Milo stepped beside her. "Together we can share more than just stories. We can build a future where our peoples grow stronger side by side." The elder nodded. "Yes, we will work with you to bring music and knowledge to all." As the crowd began to mingle, Milo and Arya found a quiet moment. "It's amazing," Milo said. "From the first note to this," Arya smiled, her eyes shining. "It was never just music, it was hope." Milo took her hand gently. "And it all started because you dared to listen." She squeezed his hand. "And because you believed." As the sun climbed higher, the music began again. This time, not in secret, but in celebration. Songs of two worlds, of bravery and friendship, filled the air, and Argon 4 was no longer just a distant planet, it was home. The morning sun stretched over the horizon of Argon 4, bathing the rocky ridge in soft golden light. For Milo and Arya, the new day felt different, lighter, hopeful, full of promise. The elders' acceptance, though cautious, had opened a door they never thought possible. Word had spread through the colony and the Livin' settlement. The music, once forbidden, now sparked curiosity and wonder instead of fear. Slowly, others began to listen, not just to Arya's songs, but to the music of humans. Arya stood on the ridge, the small music player by her side. Her silver hair glowed faintly, and her teal eyes reflected the sky's bright blue. Around her, a small group of living and humans gathered, their faces eager and open. Milo stood nearby, smiling proudly. "Look at them," he whispered. "They want to learn." Arya nodded. "They are ready. We have changed their hearts." She took a deep breath and began to sing, her voice clear and strong. The song told the story of two worlds meeting, a story of friendship, courage, and hope. The humans and Laven listened, some swaying gently to the rhythm, others with tears in their eyes. When she finished, the crowd burst into applause, a sound new to the Laven but full of warmth. The elders, standing quietly at the back, smiled softly. One elder stepped forward. "Arya," he said, "you have not only found your voice but helped our people find theirs." Milo stepped beside her. "Together we can share more than just stories. We can build a future where our peoples grow stronger side by side." The elder nodded. "Yes, we will work with you to bring music and knowledge to all." As the crowd began to mingle, Milo and Arya found a quiet moment. "It's amazing," Milo said. "From the first note to this," Arya smiled, her eyes shining. "It was never just music, it was hope." Milo took her hand gently. "And it all started because you dared to listen." She squeezed his hand. "And because you believed." As the sun climbed higher, the music began again. This time, not in secret, but in celebration. Songs of two worlds, of bravery and friendship, filled the air, and Argon 4 was no longer just a distant planet, it was home.